penultimate round of the 2003 American Le Mans Series was held on the streets of downtown Miami in searing temperatures. And the champion Audi started from pole, and JJ Lehto successfully defended the #1 place at the rolling start ahead of the Eurst Audi. The 37 car had to start from the pit lane after yet again having to rebuild the car. Still holding the lead, it was an early pit stop for the 38 car that got a little heated. But it was cool stuff for the Alex Job team, who were once more in control of the GT class. Whilst the Corvette team were having a nightmare day, the damaged #3 car adding to the misery of having the #4 car destroyed in practice. But that was good for the Ferraris, who now made this race their own. More problems for the Dyson team, who again had to suffer the smallest of niggles. The #1 Audi had been unable to take over the lead, but their main priority was getting the car home in the points. Whilst Johnny Herbert did exactly what they had to do and brought the champion Audi across the line for another win and to keep the championship hopes alive for JJ Lehto. Frank Biela and Marco Werner still hold the 675 reigns, but Chris Dyson is now the 675 champion. Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell did enough to secure the GTS, and the GTs had already gone to the Alex Job boys at Laguna Seca. For the last time this year, the American Le Mans Series gathers together for the 9th and ultimate round of the championship. This is the second time they've raced here this season, but this time it's 10 long, hard hours of racing that they have to survive. Just moments before the cars rolled out for the first of the qualifying sessions, it started to rain. Not that that turned out to be too much of an issue for the Alex Job team, who perfectly coped with the change in the conditions and once again set pole in the GT class.
Somebody told me, oh, it's raining outside, and we were like, oh, it's bad for us because we were quick in the dry, so this was an unexpected thing, and we didn't prepare for that. But the car was quick in the rain as well. The Michelin tires did a great job, I must say. I had a good feeling all the time. I just had to some brake problems because of the front brakes locking, but apart from that, the car was fine, and we changed on the right time to the intermediates.
The Ferraris were on fine form in the GTS class, as was pretty much expected. And this time, they're 3 of the pro-drive prepared Ferraris, but setting the pole time was the 80 car, with David Brabham back with Jan Magnussen and Anthony Davidson.
It was a bit of a surprise. I not expected rain today, and when we went out there, Thomas was quicker than me, slightly quicker than me in the wet, and I was right behind, so we had a 1-2 going. And then I came in for a choice of tyres. I had 3 different choices, and as a team we decided that we'd go for the intermediate. Off I went, and just started to come in just with about a lap and a half to go. It all started to get a bit more grip so I could get pole, so it worked out perfectly.
Stefan Johansson rejoins the champion team this weekend, who went second in the 900 class and 3rd overall, with everything to drive for championship-wise. The 16 car was again on good form and topping the 675 class and harassing once more the Audis. And this was again a circuit that was going to suit the turbo-powered package, but again they had to hope that reliability would stay in their favour.
I think the Audi, it's a very strong car, can bounce off some of the 911s more successfully than we can, and I think also having a big engine helps them in traffic, whereas we rely on our windmill too much. So we struggle a bit in traffic. Having said that, there's no question in my mind that on a clear lap ours is a quicker car. So it'll be very interesting.
Luckily for the Eurst Audi team, the 16 car didn't get a chance to prove the speed as Marco Werner cruised to an overall pole for the final time this year by 7/10 of a second, despite the rain.
Yeah, I'm very happy, but the conditions for me are very good. I mean, I like this condition, difficult condition. Well, it's not so easy. We have a not really dry line, and after the wet, it was a little bit dangerous, but I like this condition, and thank you for the Infineon Team Eurst and to the Michelin guy. We make a very big step in the car. That's a little bit the secret of this practice. You see us yesterday in the Netherlands, and today the car is very, very good. Thank you for the team, and that's all.
Happily, race day dawned to be dry and bright. Perfect conditions for the finale to the season to take place in as the starting ceremonies continue to build up to their 11:30 a.m. start.
Hopefully it's not too warm for us. We are only 2 drivers on this car. Some guys driving with 3 drivers, and maybe that will be a hard race for us.
For the champion Audi to win the championship, they have to win here and hope for severe misfortune for the #1 car, whilst the Panos team will once again be racing for the highest place possible.
Qualifying went very well. We are struggling a little bit with the weather, like everyone, because it was raining and dry at the end. We finished 4th. This morning we have a very nice warm-up, so the car is doing well. But like all the long-distance race, you never know what can happen. But we are very confident. I am very confident, and we will do what is the maximum possible to do.
A win is always a win, whatever the championship position, and everybody is out for that in their class. But with Corvette drivers already having secured the Drivers' Championship, they still have to nail down the Manufacturers' title, and that is the aim today.
You know what, it is absolute perfect conditions. It's not like when we were here in June, it was just very hot. I think the track temperatures will probably only get 95 to 100 degrees today. It's cool. It allows us to concentrate and keep our thinking caps on a little bit better and get the job done.
3 Care Ferrari 550 Maranellos are rolling out here, the extra car being driven by team owner Frederick Dorr and also joined by Jan Lammers, who spent the summer driving prototypes in Europe.
It's different than the sports cars, obviously. Sports cars, we are spoiled with all the fresh air and just a nice single-seater type of driving. So here I have to just back to the driving school again, get used to this. And a lot of good guys in the team, very professional team. But I'll have to adapt at some point in the race.
A long race ahead, and one that will be full of incidents and surprises. It'll be hard on the teams, and especially the drivers that have not elected to take on a third driver. So Marco Werner and Frank Biela lining up on pole position, but James Weaver will be starting behind them and will be ultra quick as always as well. So it's going to be a very interesting start. And also in the GTS class as well, we've got those Ferraris together, and also the Corvettes will be looking to do something pretty spectacular at the start. And here is the start. James Weaver is already putting the moves on the Audi as they come round. They've got the green flag, they're away. And James Weaver has taken the lead into the first turns. And now the #1 Audi is coming under pressure as we go on board with 38 JJ Leto, who's just gone past the #1 Audi. So the #1 Audi down to 3rd place now. And James Weaver, look at him going. That 6.75 is already pulled out around about half a second as they go through the S's very tight, difficult part of the circuit as they come down the hill. There's Olivier Bretta, in the number 10 Paynos, the JML Paynos in 4th place, and it's the 11 Paynos behind with Scott Maxwell on board in 5th place at the moment. The last race potentially that we'll see the LMP01s in the JML guys, and there's the GTS boys already getting lively in there as we go on board inside the number 3 car. That's the 0 olive green car ahead, and a whole load of Ferraris that the Corvettes have got to get through today. They really have their work cut out, but there is a Corvette just ahead of that as we see problems already for Kevin Buckler. He's got a puncture in the Racers Group Porsche, so problems for him and problems for James Weaver, who's into the pit lane. An electrical problem has been reported back to the pits, so from the lead he's suddenly in a very difficult position. They need to get that car sorted and get it out straight away. Well, JJ Leto leads the race then. Marco Werner now moves back up to 2nd place with James Weaver off track, and these of course 1st and 2nd in the 900 class. But disappointment for the Dyson team already on the opening lap. But good news for certainly the Audis, who can start to get away now and put some laps down on them.
With it disconnected like that, it's crashed the dashboard. I've got lap time, wheel speed and rev. I've got water and oil temperature, so you guys will have to ring up on the telemetry if I lose oil pressure or anything. Yes, pull it behind a pit wall. If you can pull it behind a pit wall, pull it behind a pit wall. Okay.
Well, James Weaver having all sorts of problems.
You've clouds of smoke behind you, James. Switch off. The pit.
Well, made his way out of the pits, but now some sort of oil leak or other, all the problem causing difficulties for that car as he moves off the track at turn 2.
It's blown up, mate. Do you want me to try and get back to the pit, or do you want me to park it? Is the engine still running? Tell me what it says on the telemetry. Do you want me to try and get back to the pit, or shall I park it?
Anxious moments for the team, and anxious moments for the olive green Raffinelli team, because that is a whole heap of damage to the number 0 car. There was an incident, we're told, with the Porsche. Here we are on board, gets into a bit of a spin and ends up in the middle of the track, and then tries obviously to get him, and hits one of the Alec Joe Porsches. That is the number 24 Porsche that he's hit side on, and an incredible amount of damage to that car. They are going to have a lot of work to do, but that car still on its way back to the pits now, so they will be able to work on it. And there is the 24 car with a door missing, and that will cause a lot of problems for that car. John Field in the 675 Intersport Lola with a Judd engine inside that car, as against the MG that they have been running with. And now leader in the 675 class. That will please him very well, teaming up with Duncan Dayton again this weekend. And difficult times in the Dyson pit. That's James Weaver, as they put some effort into trying to get that car back out on the track again. And of course they have got a lot of time to do that.
It was having an electrical problem. It was overcharging, and it was showing that the pit lane speed limiter was coming on, but only under braking. So we're not quite sure whether it's lunched the engine and blown, or done something horrible in the engine and blown the turbo, or it's just a turbo problem and a startinator problem. But the engine, we think, on the data looks all right. So we think we've got 2 separate, hopefully, problems. If they're interrelated, that's probably us done. So we're going to change the turbo, change the startinator, have a cup of tea, go again.
Bit of work to do for the corner workers at turn 12, because Johnny Molan has crashed the Peterson Porsche and had a and look at this. This is Frank Bieler, who's also had an off as well, and quite a bit of damage to that Audi. Well, definitely on the right-hand side, damage to the front end. The splitter certainly has been damaged, and that looks to be also broken suspension as well. The underside is catching. And here's a replay then. Here he is just coming down from the top now and just gets it onto the grass and goes sideways, tries to control it, but then hits the wall quite hard on the right-hand side. And that was a very unfamiliar incident to see Frank Bieler with. A long time since we've seen him crashing a car, but it's still moving, and now he's on into the entry to the pit lane. And the Audi team will be ready and waiting to dive on that car, and I think we'll see him go behind the wall to their pit box, to the garage, where they can work on the car quicker and easier with more people allowed as well, not with any pit lane restrictions. So, great news though. That was for, of course, JJ Leto, who we're on board with now, who is leading the race. This is the Urs team with their car now working on it, and working on the rear as well. Oh, and problems for the 20 car, Chad Block.
Car looks pretty messed up.
Well, he's hit the wall at turn 2.
Now, stay in the car, bad as the car.
Get out. See if you can get going.
And he had moved up to first place in the 675 class as well, so the Dyson team hoping that maybe they can get that car back and get it repaired. Still repairing the number 16 car, of course, as well, so everybody now behind the pace car whilst all that's sorted out. Chad Block walking back in there, and he'll be disappointed, if not quite scared about facing the team, I'd imagine, but taking the opportunity now to head into the pits for fuel and tyres and a changeover to Johnny Herbert. We are expecting for the race leader to have a whole heap of time in hand now, as the pit lane is just flooded with automobiles. Johnny Herbert getting inside the champion Audi, and well, this is a great place for them to be at this part of the race, because they've already built up quite a big cushion, and that will give them quite a lot of confidence. JJ Leto strapping Johnny Herbert in tightly to that cockpit, and reminder that it's JJ Leto that could win this championship. Johnny Herbert can't, because he's points behind JJ Leto from driving for Bentley at Sebring at the beginning of the race, but JJ still in with a chance of winning that championship. Just about ready to go then. Out he goes, and starts his stint. Thomas Enger getting inside the GTS P1 car, the 88 ProDrive Ferrari, and that's Chad Block running back to the 20 car. Presumably they're going to try and restart that car then.
Everything has been running really well. The car is very well balanced, it works really well, and we are just, at the moment, we were pushing really hard in the beginning to get a little gap. But then number 1 had an accident, so they broke the car. I don't know how badly, but now we are leading a lot. It's nice that we are leading and comfortably, but there's still a long way to go. And we really need to have a little bit more luck than to win, to win the championship.
Well, unlucky was Larry Alberto, who's crashed into the flatbed truck that was there to recover the 20 car, which they managed to restart, and it's on its way back to the pits. But now the recovery is for the 30 car, and that looks to be very badly damaged indeed. And I think potentially that's the end of the race for that car. We're still under safety car procedures, but now also Frank Bieler is back on track. We just caught sight of him there as we get the green flag, and we're going to go again this time. Frank Bieler, the repairs took 10.5 minutes to that number 1 car, and they lost 11 laps on the track. They had the front splitter replaced, the nose and the rear transaxle as well, as we're on board inside the 23 car now in the GT class. Lucas Law inside the car, leading in the GT class at the moment, and that's one of the prototypes, the American Spirit prototype, that he's just neck and neck with now, as Olivia Beretta looks on. That's Don Paynol's team owner and founder of the American Le Mans series, that's with him as well.
We have a very good 2-hour stint. I stay on the car the first 2 stints, and the car is great. I mean, just now we are pit 3 because of the pit stop on the yellow, and we took some time to change driver, but it will be all right. The car is fine, so I'm quite confident.
Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim there in the 2 yellow Chevrolet Corvette C5Rs. Difficult race they had in Miami, and it's not been going that well for them this weekend. And there's the BMW, nice to see that out as well. This weekend, the 6 car. But the main aim of the weekend is to confirm the Constructors' Championship, as at turn 11 Melanie Patterson has got familiar with the gravel bed, and now after quite some time, Chris Dyson is bringing the number 20 car back out, which is good news for them, as we see David Salins now back up to second place in the number 10 JML Panos, as Marco Werner is now up to third place, but is laps behind the Panos. Well, the Audi is much quicker than the Panos, and we'll see, I think, without a doubt, him getting past to take off one of those laps, but still quite some distance to go. Unconfirmed rumours that David Salins might be going to race in the IRL season next year, but as I said, unconfirmed at the moment, but he's having a good race so far, driving the second stint for the 10 Panos.
There's still the chance to win the championship, or let's say we have to finish the race, but you see how quickly something can happen. I mean, it was a stupid situation, and I did not have this in 4 years. But sooner or later it happens, and unfortunately it happens today.
And there is Hans Stuck in the BMW, the E46 M3. And good to see the BMWs here in the GT class. Hans Stuck, the 50-year-old or so driver, still as quick as he ever was. And hoping for some success here today. Certainly a long race, and anything could happen, and anything has happened for the 88 car, because Thomas Enger has got into a bit of a spin. That's at turn 1, and he's made contact with the number 1 car, we're told, and looking to see if there's any damage. A lot of gravel coming out of that car, but oh, there's certainly fluid and everything coming out of that car. That's Jeff Swart in the 67 Racers Group Porsche, and that looks to be the end of his race. And here's a replay of him going off. That must have been contact, I think, which sent him off at that part of the circuit and hit the wall very hard indeed. A little bit of a strange accident. And here's a replay now between the Ferrari and number 1 Marco Werner. Just a nudge to the side, and that sent him into a spin. Little bits of carbon fibre just coming off from the underside there. But is there any damage to the number 1 Audi? Well, in the pits now. We have a change over for the 38 car, as Johnny Herbert is handing back over to JJ Leto. New tyres going on. Fuel has already gone in. And the number 1 car is in the pits again. Fuel going on. Tyres are ready. They'll check that car over. Marco Werner is staying inside the car. David Brabham has changed over to Anthony Davidson, and he heads out of the pits now, which will give them the lead then. Oh no, he's got stuck. He's being held for some reason in the pits, and he comes out now, but the 88 car has just got ahead of him. So they are, I think, going to get back into the order. And there is the Dyson 20 car as well in the line, the Alex Job car, and also the number 3 Corvette, as we get a great view of this fabulous circuit. Road Atlanta is just a stunning place. We're on board now with the olive green car that has finally made it back out onto the track after a lot of repairs. And this is Joel Kamaithas that we're on board with now. A lot of time to catch up, but at least they're back on the circuit again. And in the Paintlaws pits, Scott Maxwell has handed over to Gunnar Jeanette in the number 11 car, and no, surely not. The olive green car against the concrete wall, and that has been another incident for the car. That's at turn 7, and they've just got it back, and it is in an incident again. We're on board now. Let's find out what happens. Just goes into the turn, gets it wrong, and it's over the grass. He can't stop, and surely now that is the end of the olive green Ferrari. Well, certainly the driver's out, and they'd worked so hard to get that back out on the track, and that looks to be the last time we'll see that car this year. In fact, potentially the last time we will see that car. Rumours that the Raffinelli team will run maybe a Corvette next year. That we'll have to wait and see. Lucas Law leading the GT class in the 23 car. Second place is Anthony Lazzaro in that car, the Rizzi Competizione Ferrari 360 Modena. And what a great season they've had. They've really been competitive and really starting to pressure the Alex Job Porsches towards the end of the year. Corvette behind that Ferrari.
Well, pushing the Porsches, we're driving our race, and I guess they're also driving their race. It's going to be tough to beat the Alex Job cars. But well, we've got a couple of hours left. I think nearly 5 hours left to the end of the race, and it's going to be really tough to keep up with them.
Up to third place now, Frank Bieler back in the seat of the number 1 car that's back in one piece again, and a long way to make up though. They are behind the number 10 Paynos and of course the 38 champion Audi. The Paynos they can do something about. They will be able to catch and take some of the laps back, but are still a very tall order for them. But at the moment, if they finish where they are, then there's no problems for the championship. Just coming down the hill once more in third place, Frank Bieler. Now, because of the extra distance in the race as well, there is the 70% rule, which means that they have to pass the 70% mark of the race duration to qualify for the championship points. As we go on board now inside the, this is the 3 car, the 3 Corvette, Johnny O'Connell, who is 3rd in class and 7th overall at the moment, so not going too badly.
Well, it is what it is. You know, we kind of anticipated the pace of the Ferraris being quick, and you know, we're just trying to hang in there. It's going to be tough. We got a ways to go yet, but we're hanging in there, and that's about it.
Finding it quite difficult over the last couple of races. They really have had to put up with a lot of pressure and a lot of problems for the team as well, but still continuing. And so too is JJ Leto. There he is. That's the race leader by quite a considerable margin now in the 38 champion Audi, currently on for their 4th victory. That would be quite something for them if they could win here at Petit Le Mans. And certainly it's a race victory that JJ Leto has never had, and certainly one which he wants to add to his career as well. Just one of the 675 cars. That's the 20 car, I think, that he's just coming up behind now as well. But we saw crashing out earlier, but luckily the team have worked wonders with that and have got it back out in the race as well. One of the PK Porsches, the yellow Porsche there in the GT class, is passed as well by these 2 cars. And here we have the number 11 Paynos with the Audi behind him. We have the Audi in 3rd place. The Paynos is in 4th place. That looks to be Benjamin Leuenberger that's about to be passed as they go down the bottom of the hill. So they get a lap back and continue on the way. The number 10 Paynos still in 2nd place and quite some way ahead of the number 1 Audi. And there is the number 80 car, the Care Racing Ferrari, one of 3 they've gone out this weekend. Sounding absolutely incredible. They really are so distinctive and so awesome to hear on the trackside. But David Brabham in 2nd place in the GTS class at the moment. 1st place is, unsurprisingly, the 88 car, Thomas Enger, inside that in P1 in the GTS class. And there is David Brabham. And they have been so strong this year. They really have pushed the Corvette team to new extremes, and they've just found so much from this car this year. Well, the afternoon starting to give way now to night time. We're starting to head into that familiar dusk sensation here, and conditions starting to get just a little bit more cooler as we go on. And then of course we will be racing in the dark as well, and not all parts of the circuit have any sort of lighting on them. And certainly you can see the lights starting to become more distinctive on those cars as the sun begins to settle, and we go into the final stages of this race, and I think it's going to be quite exciting as well. And flashing his lights just to catch the attention of cars ahead of him, and there is a prototype that I think he should make fairly easy pickings of. That's the 64 car that he's about to catch and pass in the next half a lap or so. A little bit of a distance between him and his teammates. No team orders, we are reassured this weekend. They are actually out there and racing as well. Certainly making his way quickly past the 64 car. He's lost a little bit of time there. The 80 car just closing up slightly, but again he has to pass the traffic as well. Well, the two Alex Job Porsches on the circuit, and you can see a whole lot of creativeness from the Alex Job team on the side of that 24 car. That's the car that lost the door before after the incident quite early on with the Zero car, the olive green Ferrari. As through goes the Audi, but they managed to get that car taped up and back out onto the circuit again as we look on the rear of the 23 car as JJ Leto in the champion Audi just cuts past very, very easily as well, and on his way in there. A real good display of the difference in speed between these two different classes of cars. The Alex Job team on for both cars finishing at the minutes. They've had a couple of disappointing rounds as well this year, and certainly Miami was quite difficult for them as well. They really had to work for it, and now we're looking at second and third place. That is Olivier Beretta inside the 10 car, and Marco Werner now in the number 1 car will be getting his way past to take back another lap. Not if Olivier can stop him. And Olivier has been fabulous in this car this year, really enjoys racing. Of course, 2-time GTS champion in the American Le Mans series as well, when he was driving the distinctive red with the white stripes Areca Viper that he campaigned so successfully in Europe as well in the FIA GT Championship many years ago. And along with Carl Wendlinger, then came to the series in America and won the championship twice. And has returned this year with the JML Panos team and has done a very good job indeed. So, holding off the Audi and the 20 car in the pits, and problems for that car again. They're having to do some more work on that. And still these two together on the track, and Olivier making that Panos very wide indeed, but this time has to yield to the Audi, and the Audi pulls back a lap and out once more. There is the 37 car, Duncan Dayton inside the 37 car. What a year it has been for them. We have seen that car destroyed completely at the Infineon Raceway in Sonoma. We saw an incredible crash at Miami in qualifying, but they got that car back together again, and it was called the Junkyard Dog because they had bits that they scavenged from everywhere, and they have continued on as we come back to third place. Marco Werner in the Infineon Audi. Well, what are we going to see from Audi next year? Are we going to see the R8s back as customers? Are we going to see the R9 appear? We really just don't know what's going to happen next year at all. Certainly with Bentley now saying that they won't be taking part in the Le Mans 24-hour next year, it certainly paves the way more for certainly a bigger effort from Audi again next year. We are quite some way off. Oh, and Marco Werner just got unsighted there by the cars in front of him. Has gone into the gravel. Well, the engine's still going. Is there damage to that car? Is a question. Can he get out of that? Is another question as well. And also now, this is the 276th lap, which if they complete it, will bring them up to 70% race distance. Well, he's got the car. Look at the gravel spewing out the back now. But he's got to complete this lap. If he doesn't complete it under their own steam, that is the end of the championship for them. So this is nail-biting stuff for the Audi team as the gravel extracts itself. And into the pits comes the 80 car. David Brabham brought that car in as they give that a quick service. Marco Werner down to fourth place now, but continuing, importantly, round to the pits.
It probably was just not our weekend. I mean, when I crashed, I really thought it's over. Thanks God I brought the car back into the pits. We made it again. And then I had some pickup. I went off again, really big time. But I did not touch the wall, thank God. And then now at the end, half a lap
before the 70%, he went in the gravel bed. So I think we have to be happy with, I think we are fourth now. Maybe we have the chance to finish third. As I said, it's not our weekend, but no matter how we finish here, I'm happy that we have the championship.
Well, huge relief, and that number one car will stay the number one car now, regardless of where they finish. They've completed enough distance to secure the championship, so great relief from the number one pit. Bit of disappointment, I would think, with the 38 team, who know now that they can't take the championship. Comfortably on their way to winning the Petit Le Mans, although still quite a bit of a distance to go, as night really is becoming the dominant force now over the afternoon sunshine that we've seen here. It is getting darker by the moment, and that's going to make life harder as well. You can see how bright those lights are, and you can imagine what that is like when you're driving on the circuit and you have a car coming up behind you. So you have to cope with looking for yourself where you're going and being dazzled from the car behind. And also you see the green light on the side of that Ferrari now, indicating that he is first in class. And this is where those lights really start to come into their own. 3 lights on every car, and they will light up if they're in first, second or third place. And it really does make spotting these cars so much easier, especially at night. And you'll also see a blue light on the right-hand side in the door of that Ferrari as well. Probably won't see it this side. But you'll see it the other side, and that indicates to the team they can see which car is which. Lights looking spectacular in the darkness here at Road Atlanta. The final round, just 9 rounds this year, making up the calendar. We're expecting 9 rounds next year. And also, if the schedule goes ahead, we'll be looking at the Petit Le Mans not being the last round of the year next year. There's a lot of smoke coming out of the 18 car. Andrew Davis inside that 18 Essex Racing Lola Nissan has got problems. Second in class as well. They were up and leading at one point as well. And now they will try and get that car back to the pits if they can. Quite a way to go, though. And also, of course, they're putting oil down on the track as well. We're on board with Ron Fellows. Oh, and that's Chris Dyson that he's just hit up the back end in the 20 car. And Ron Fellows taking no prisoners at all. The Audi passes Ron Fellows at the same time. And 20, though, has got back onto the track, just ran wide a little bit. And what a great nighttime shot that is as well. How great it looks here as the lights start to take their own effect in the darkness. And the cars continue round. We're on board with Johnny Herbert and JJ Leto's 38 car. Johnny Herbert in the darkness now, and on board with him. You see the cars ahead and how quickly he catches them as well. You see the full effect of the lights on the dashboard as well, on the R8 Audi, the customer Audi. Little yellow lights you see indicating moving up to change gear. Down a couple of gears on the brakes, and then just feeds the power beautifully through. And a lot of the time these drivers really could drive with their eyes shut. They know the circuit so well, having been around it so many times. And of course, you've got to watch out for other cars as he comes up behind. I think that might be one of the PK Sport Porsches. Quickly passed without any problems, and that's exactly what he wants. Looks absolutely stunning as the Corvette comes down the hill with the Ferrari behind, but ahead the leading GTS car, and it's going to be a great way for the car racing Ferraris to finish off. No news on what they're planning next year. We know that ProDrive were hoping that somebody else would take over preparing the Ferraris. They're involved with Aston Martin next year as well. But at the moment, ALMS inside that GTS leading car, the 550 Maranello. ALMS joining the team for the extra drive for the 10-hour race. such a distinctive engine note that we have talked about so many times. Jan Magnussen absolutely adores the way these Ferraris sound. And of course that was one of the big surprises of the season as well, really. Jan Magnussen and David Brabham, who weren't retained at the end of last year to drive for the JML Panos team. And we started the year without them, and then they were picked up by the Care Racing team to drive the 80 car, and they have been absolutely magnificent in it as well this year. And no team orders, we're told, for the Ferraris, but that 88 car we would expect maybe to see winning from the aspect, there it is now, in fact on cue, from the Drivers' Championship, because we could certainly see Thomas Enger up there, not going to be the winner, but certainly higher up the order as well, so we'll see how things play out for them. Their cars, of course, slightly differing on strategy. Their pit stops have changed a couple of times with incidents that have happened, but we don't know just yet quite how it's going to pan out, but it has been a great year for the Ferraris, and they've bought 3 here this time and really put a big effort into this final round of the season. And we're looking at the second place car now, the ProDrive 550, and overhead we go now as well, down the pit straight as we see braking into turn 1. A long way to go now. Look how bright that green light is on the side as well. Those little LEDs certainly do pump out some lighting volume, you could say. Spectators still on the side there, and a quick dive into the pits. This was not quite scheduled. Information is that they suspected a slow puncture on the car. No fuel. Well, a little bit of fuel went in there, I think, but driver changing over as well. So Marco Werner now handing back over to Frank Bieler, and that car is about to be fired up and brought back out onto the circuit again as well. They're still in second place at the moment. So now has to hold the pit lane speed limit 60 kilometres an hour before joins back out onto the circuit, and there is the Panos. Very distinctive cars as well, the Panos. There is the number 10 car.
It's a very hard day. You see, everything is possible. We have a lot of troubles in this race, accidents, spin-off, problem with the car. With the tire now was a problem with the tire. We see a sign from the tire that we have a low pressure or the damaged tires. But what's wrong, the tire was okay, by a wrong sign. But for safety, it's okay. It was the left tire. If you have a problem with the left tire in the last or in the first corner with third gear or sixth gear with 260 kilometers per hour, you have a big accident, and that was okay. Which driver change, full service.
Johnny Herbert now in the pits. JJ Leto taking over for the final stint of the race. They have got bags of time at the moment. Well, relatively bags of time anyway, but fuel, a little bit of fuel's gone into that car. Tyres have been changed as well. And now just changing over the intercom and also the driver identification system as well. They plug into the car, and that sends out a signal to the timing so that they know who is in that car as well. A transponder for each driver of the team.
Yeah, it's going to the motor plane just because we've got such a lead at the moment, which is lovely because you can go out there and drive around, passing the majority of the cars just down the straight. There's no need to pass them around the corners and risk anything whatsoever. So I just kept it clean and kept out of trouble, and I think I was doing sort of 16, 18s, and I thought, I don't care what time I'm doing, as long as I'm out of trouble, don't hit anything, I'll be fine.
And he didn't. And JJ Leto in that car now. Sasha Masson is in this car. We're on board the second place GT car, the Alex Joe Porsche. clear track ahead at the moment, no lights that we can see. Cutting the curb, still trying hard, and this race certainly isn't over just yet. See how dark it is, and they are driving at incredible speeds. There's Anthony Lazzaro that has come into the pits, changed over to Ralph Kellners, who's going to take the 35 car hopefully back out. And they really have put the pressure on the Alex Job team this year. And Alex Job has said that they really have, you know, brought the race to them a bit more now, that the advantage that they had often felt has started to be eroded because the Ferraris have got so much quicker, and they really are having to race those Porsches a lot more now than they have had before. They haven't had the big margins, and there's a bit of a brake fire. That's just where the discs have got so hot, and because the car isn't moving, it has started to ignite, but no real problem. Very quickly, and the tyres are being changed on that car. Romain Dumas has changed over to Timo Bernhard's, and we're on the last lap. Unbelievably now, the last lap of this race, almost 10 hours of racing complete. JJ Leto is still picking his way through the traffic, very carefully though, as Johnny said. You just make sure that you can do it. You don't need to push too hard at the moment. A very slow car there on the straight. Hopefully they can make it to the end of the race and be recorded as crossing the line. That's what every driver wants to do, of course. But on the final lap now for the champion Audi, it's not going to be a championship win, but it is going to be a Petit Le Mans win. It's going to be another milestone in the history of the team, and through the checkered flag they go, and quite rightly cheers on the pit wall as the fireworks herald the end of the race. And it's the end of the race, unbelievably, for Boris Said in the 6th car at turn 5, an engine fire for that BMW. The champion Audi team take their 4th win of the year ahead of a delighted JML Paynol's team in 2nd. John Field and Duncan Dayton get one more win in the 675 class, and a good day for Ferrari in the GTS class. And in the GTs, it was the 24 Alex Job team car that won ahead of their teammates, with Ralph Kellners and Anthony Lazzaro 3rd in the class. 394 laps completed to win the final race of this year's series and round off a great year's racing, and also a great personal achievement for JJ Leto to add this win to his already impressive list of racing history.
I have been looking for this win for so many years already, and it was nice to do it with Champion Racing this year. Yes, I mean, unfortunately that was not enough, but we had a couple of bad races this year. We tried our best throughout the season. You know, we have 4 wins, years have 4 wins, you know, that just shows how professional Champion Racing is nowadays and how much better they go throughout the year. So we can challenge anybody.
The Care Racing team had a great day also, with all the cars finishing, but the Cox, Enger and Menu combination taking the GTS class win, and 2nd place with the 80 car, and the 3rd car coming in to finish 11th.
We deserve it. I mean, last year we were unlucky. We came just 2nd, but this year we finally get the right place where we should be, and thanks to everybody, they did a great job, and I was just passenger in the best car in the field.
So the championships are finally confirmed after 9 rounds of close racing, and after thousands of miles have been completed, both on track and off it as well, as the teams and drivers made their way around America and also into Canada. The corks popped for the final time this year on the podium, and as the celebrations stretch into the night, preparations are already firmly underway, with the series set to return once again in March 2004.